Hold on, we didn't even do an intro.
That was an intro. The thing is, we don't need an official intro.
I really love that. I'm your host. So and so.
No, you know what?
We've done it every episode so far. So I think we need to do this.
I might as well start cutting us off.
Would you like me to do the intro?
Kyle needs to do this one.
It's gonna be funny.
Welcome to Blockhead Nation, episode 4. I'll smack that little grin off you so fast. It'll create another season. I'll smack you so good.
Smack you so
Smack you so good. You want to take me out for a steak dinner after I smack you?
Blockhead, yes I am.
Hey everybody, welcome back. Welcome to Blockhead Nation. We are shooting our 4th episode of the podcast. Today's episode is the 4th building block in our building block series, and the building block today is work ethic and nobility of character. I am your co-host, Kyle Appleton. Joining me is your host, Ryan Donovan, and the very handsome Rudolph Andrew Sacco. Fun fact, we share the same middle name. Just want to throw that out there.
We do.
Yes, I didn't know that.
Yes, we do.
Welcome.
Quite Irish middle name, if you ask me.
Quite Irish. Happy St. Patrick's Day, my Conor McGregor impression. I'll smack that little grin off your. Don't you look over here at me. Look at your mic. Don't you look at me. You
Guys, like, why you got to be so hostile?
Nobility of character.
Oh, that's a good one. He's got a little.
I'm an Irish lad. My name is Ryan Emmett Donovan. I have the most Irish name out of anybody here.
That's beautiful.
That's pretty good.
Get really good.
Let's keep it PG.
Oh yeah, we come off the gates like too non-PG, but yeah, let's just dive into it, right? So,
welcome. Yeah, welcome.
Welcome. Work ethic and nobility of character. That Kyle thought of nobility of character. I think that we think that the two correlate to each other.
You need one to have the other, I believe.
Absolutely, and they build on each other, right? You kind of need character, and really, let's start off kind of with what work ethic means, because what's interesting is when we looked into. I always thought that work ethic was like just working hard or somebody who went to work every day, and that plays into it. But when we dug into the definition of it, it goes a little bit deeper than that. And we have like kind of 4 main bullet points of what work ethic is. I don't know, Rudy, you want to kind of dive into that?
Well, that is like the start. Like that's the base level, right? Just showing up. You have to show up.
Yep.
To work hard at anything. So when we talk about work ethic, though, it's a combination of things, and the ethic piece is really doing the best every single time that you go and do show up. Now you're gonna have your good days and your bad days, but when you go and you set your mind and you believe you're gonna go do something, you need to come with the intention to do your God-given best every single fucking time you come.
And inside of that, it's intentionality. So
yeah, you have to have that intention.
There goes the thing. I read that new like
we fucking told this guy.
Whoops.
I told him to take the fucking watch off, and he did it. We're gonna do an Irish bloodbath after this. No, so
we go to rallies.
Did you touch my thigh? Did you just?
We're gonna get a hoedown.
Get those grubby little hands off my. You touch my pants again, I'll smack you so goddamn fast.
Are those nylon? Those are nice.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. They kind of have this
give
like
him a compliment, knock him right out of character.
They almost sounds like I'm wearing a diaper when I walk. With the
squishy,
they're like. It's like 2001 all over again with the Adidas pants. Anyway, sorry. I just wanted to add something hearing you both talk about work ethic. So this is an important episode, but we do these to relate to any listener because we're all human beings, obviously, and you have an opportunity in life, and sadly, not everyone has an equal opportunity around the earth. But if you are given the opportunity to have a platform to work, it starts with your family, and they give you the tools and they raise you, and then you have opportunities in society with school and then a job eventually. You make those choices, but so much of what Ryan was saying, what work ethic is, and I think it was a conversation you had with Gina. Yeah, I'm getting really serious now. Yeah, now I'm
I want to dive into.
I'm getting into third gear almost.
That's the beauty of the podcast, because as you dove into that, Kyle, it's giving me other ideas to extrapolate.
Yeah, well, what I wanted to say was work ethic. I think it's so easy to think, okay, work hard, but you mentioned a really good point. It's more than that, and I think it's a lot of it's intangible. A lot of it has to do with morality and nobility of character, because the two are intrinsically they interweave. Because nobility of character, you think about noble traits like gratefulness, dedication, selflessness. And you have to be selfless in a sense where you're not pursuing just the easy road every day and just kind of doing the things that are easy, but you got to do the things that are hard.
Absolutely. Yeah. And in this conversation with Gina, when we looked at the actual definition of it, it was, they used work, like the workplace, as a reference because it's kind of the easiest way to, I guess, quantify what the definition is. And it said somebody who has good work ethic is somebody who shows up on time every single day.
Why are you looking at me?
No, but somebody who takes pride in their work. So it's the professionalism of working with the team members, putting out the best possible work that you can, right? Because there's something to be said about showing up to the gym every day. And then there's something to be said about being intentional, about rehabbing your knee, working on specific muscles, actually doing the research, intertwining that with your diet. That's where you start to build character by showing up every day. But to have good work ethic doesn't mean you just show up. It means that you actually care about the final outcome.
Yeah.
And that's what work ethic really is. And honestly, I always just thought, oh yeah, like people said, oh, Ryan, you have good work ethic because you show up and you go to work, but it goes deeper than that. And I'm excited to tie that in.
The word ethic
is
key.
You really have to do it in every aspect of life too, because they're going to play off one another. And I mean, your health, your relationships, your actual work and your business, you have to exhibit a work ethic in all of them. And if you fall short in another, you're bound to fall short in one of the other aspects. So if you can have that conscious thought in your head, I'm going to work hard at all of these things every single day and be the best I can be when I show up, it's going to translate to bigger and better things for yourself. And I was talking to Donnie about this a little bit earlier. Like, there is a book by Ryan Holiday, Discipline is Destiny. That is the book.
Nice.
And it talks about a life of effort is a life worth living. And if you're sitting around all day, if you're just eating, being gluttonous, having sex when you just want to have sex, I mean, these are
with whoever,
yeah. Whenever, getting that instant gratification,
taking in drugs.
It's going to vices, You're going to live with a bunch of regret, and you're going to cut yourself down quite short.
And I'll be vulnerable now for a moment because Rudy's hitting on Rudy's hitting on the elements that are the reality of work ethic in life. Because if you want a good life,
as I chug a beer, man.
I love our drinking beers in this episode.
Well, there's discipline, right? I mean,
it's
self-control.
St. Patty's Day, guys. All right.
Yeah, it's in the spirit, but at the same time, we don't make a habit of drinking.
No, we
don't.
Not anymore.
That's thankfully, and alcoholism.
Key point, not anymore. Yeah.
Alcoholism ran in my family, but I used to, growing up, I mean, I didn't make the best choices, and when it comes to those things that society kind of pushes on you through music and movies and the things that are very much, you think you're feeding, I think you feed the ego with a lot of it, with when it does come to sex or relationships or people, or even then, and then just, I think just the cravings of escapism. I think really a lot of it is people when they develop drug habits or do use drugs on the weekends or whatever it is, and you're escaping reality, when in reality, the best thing for you objectively is to work hard and to focus on bettering yourself every day and being healthy. And that's why finding good hobbies and good things to do that fit your character, and developing the ethic to chase those things and do those things, whether it's the arts or reading or charity or whatever it is every day that you can be doing to selflessly give and even give to yourself by pursuing those arts, or if it's something that you're learning, a craft or whatever, like respect yourself enough to do it and
do it consistently.
Yeah.
Well, and know where you're at, right? Because if you're a dishwasher, okay, it doesn't matter how old you are, whether you're 14 years old or you're 30 years old, and that's where you're at. Do the best fucking job that you can do. Take pride in what you're doing, because people will notice that. When you notice a young kid who shows up every single day, he's 10 minutes early, he stays 10 minutes longer, that kid's going to get bumped up to the line chef. Then next thing you know, he's going to be a chef. And that kid could be 16 years old, having a job that 22-year-olds have. And in that moment in his life, his or her life, that's great. And you know what? I don't give a crap if you're 40 years old and you're doing dishes. I would do that, you know, if I was in that position and work my way up from there. If shit hit the fan or we were in war, or I had to move to a different country and that's where I had to start from, it wouldn't be easy. I would be in my own thoughts, but I think that you have to accept where you're at and then build up from there and say, you know what, this is what I'm doing now. I don't really have a choice at this point, and I'm going to do the best fucking job that I can so I can take pride in it. I can sleep at night, but also people will notice that, and I can build from this point that I'm at.
Yeah. And to go along with that too is, you know, Kyle mentioned earlier that, you know, if you're in a position to, you know, seize an opportunity, it's almost like you need to create those opportunities, even if you are starting from scratch. And, you know, granted, there are levels of fortune, and you might be born into a more opportunistic situation, but you can create opportunity by being consistent and showing up and doing the best you literally can every single time you show up.
Yeah, and I want to be a voice to say, as somebody who's made some bad choices, they hurt your life. They will absolutely, they will absolutely derail you or create depression. Now, there's a difference between somebody who can look in the mirror and almost, I'm going to use a biblical term, repent. When you repent, you acknowledge that your ways are wrong, and there's a greater, you know, in the biblical sense, and believing in God, such as I do. It's my belief in Jesus and everything is literally turning and owning your mistakes and saying I'm wrong, and that will generate so much motivation. In a sense, you still need to do it, but it's a healthy, moralistic, ethical engagement of the spirit to better yourself. Because I have made bad decisions, and they will affect your life. Now, I still have I have a very blessed life. Don't get me wrong, but
I think that you bring up a great point, right? Because this is something that we spoke about before this started, is that things that you don't address stack up and they drag you down. So whether it's you haven't talked to your mom in a long time because you were in a fight, or you haven't done your taxes, like I was joking about, or you didn't do some things that you knew you needed to do, those things, they weigh down on you. No matter how small or big they are, those things drag you down. And subconsciously, and we're going to get into the subconscious and the ethics of how the things that science don't relate to, there's something about putting things off that need to get done that hold you back in a certain way. And I think work ethic is something where you're gonna take care of those things, remend those relationships, and try to slowly start checking those things off the bucket list that are dragging you down. And past mistakes, Kyle, are a big part of that. And it took me a while, and now we're gonna get vulnerable. Like when my relationship with drinking used to be so much different because I had so many things that I didn't address. Even early on in my relationship with Gina, like I would, get mad or, throw a fit when I was drinking because there was things that I didn't resolve within myself. So whether it's something that's really interpersonal that you have to dig into your childhood to address, or it's something as small as doing your taxes, like, when I got back from vacation, I was, you're always slow. We were gone for a long time. I usually don't take a long vacation. And there was all these little things. I didn't sign my mom up for mass health. I've been putting it off forever. It's something I needed to do. And I try to check all these little boxes, and it slowly helped me redirect my focus towards work and the podcast and the things that I need to do.
Yeah. There's never been a situation in my life where I know something needs to get done and I get it done. I never regret getting it done. All right. I never regret starting it.
Exactly.
What I do regret is putting it off and procrastinating and waiting and just thinking of hypotheticals on why, or thinking of excuses as to why I shouldn't, or I don't want to really do this. I don't want to put in that work right now. Do the work and do it now if you know it's got to be done. That's what I've learned, and that's what I try to practice.
Yeah.
Do
it. And my grandmother used to always say this, very simple quote, but always stuck with me. Do a job, do it right. Even if you're cleaning a bathroom, fucking clean the bathroom the way that it should be cleaned, right? It's because it's like those little, and you talked about procrastination. That was one of the things when me and Gina were doing the research, is that like that's bad work ethic. Yeah. Procrastination is bad work ethic. There you go. Lost my thought for a second, but those are directly correlated. And when you don't do those things, like I said, I think our mantra is block by block. That can be a good thing, but it can also be a bad thing. Things can snowball downhill or they can snowball uphill. And it's your choice which way you want that, that ball or that block to go. Yeah.
So getting into the anatomy a little bit, right? You need willpower to, and we can maybe push this. We can cut it. We can snip it. We can do whatever we want, right? But when you think about work ethic, you need the will to work. You need the will to get out of bed. You need that mentality, and we call it will to persist. And when it's more recent studies have shown a focus on a certain area of the brain, and I think Kyle, I don't know if you're ready to talk about it right now,
absolutely.
But there's a specific area of the brain that is associated with this. People like Matt Lieberman on Instagram, I've noticed, have talked about it. But when you do things you don't like, this area of the brain grows. When you do things, that give you instant gratification, it shrinks. So I'll let Kyle take it over and tell us what that area is.
I stumbled. I follow some Christian accounts on my Instagram, and there was somebody who, because the life of a Christian, I mean, you try to walk, you try to walk closer to God, and you try to not engage in the things that are not godly, which that's not the point of Christianity. The point of Christianity is putting your faith on Jesus Christ. He did it for you. He lived the perfect life. He was sinless. He was God in the flesh, but he also was in human flesh. And human flesh has a weakness to it in that it's susceptible to temptation, from sleeping in to gluttony, to lust, to engagement of all sorts of other things that really destroy not just the body. Evidence of engaging in those things will eventually show on the body, but they destroy the spirit. This is what led me to it. But anyway, in science, in every human being, you have the anterior mid-cingulate cortex in the brain that Rudy was saying if you consistently engage in, and there are articles, and one article I shared with these guys a little bit for this podcast was just demonstrating and highlighting discipline every day. The anterior mid-cingulate cortex will grow over time. It's been shown through various studies that this area of the brain grows and gets bigger when you do the things you don't want to do. So, and here's the thing, even just like Rudy is a good example. So he gets up and goes to CrossFit at 4:30 every morning. Now, beginning that journey, he definitely didn't want to do that. You don't want to get up at 4:30 when you have a family and you have a full-time job and all these other things going on in your life. The podcast, whatever, work takes you beyond 5 o'clock sometimes. You don't want to get up at 4:30. It's true for a lot of people. Even if you're working 9 to 5, you just don't. You don't want to.
It's fucking rough, dude. Waking up that early is rough.
It is I still don't want to get up in the morning. And I'll be honest, guys. This past week, I got a little sniffles. I didn't get up as many times as I'd like to, but at the same time, I still went.
Here's the thing: is a lot of people will say no, but I do want to. It's true, you do want to. Excuse me, it's true that you do want to, but your body's still going to hold you down like an anchor. You're going to be lying a little bit if there's some part of you that just isn't like, oh, this is hard. But when you start it, it's especially difficult, and it's probably especially difficult for you. Yeah. So Rudy's been doing this now for a few months, and guarantee you that part of the brain has grown for him because he's been consistently getting up in the morning and doing CrossFit, which is exerting yourself. And a lot of anaerobic explosive exercises, and it's very difficult that time in the morning. But that's just a small example. I think it's true. A lot of people will say they want to do something, but it takes having to actually start it. So
showing up,
show up,
yeah. And that's where
the consistency.
Here's what's interesting is the article stated that in obese people, if they begin dieting, literally, if they're just, this isn't even so much them engaging in a physical act. What they're choosing to do is to not engage in an act, which is just a decision in the brain. They're telling themselves, I'm actually not going to eat what I've been eating lately that's contributed to my weight gain, or that has a lot of sugar, or whatever, a lot of some fat's good for you, but other fats, not so much. You get your saturateds and all that other stuff. But whatever it is that obese, that will contribute to the body, and lack of mobility will contribute to the body not being in an optimal form. But when they're just the point of the study was that the interior mid-cingulate cortex grows in people that are choosing to diet by simply saying I'm going to fast or just drink water and eat an apple and maybe like some peanut butter or some celery later, when they're used to the complete opposite, right? Because they've been engaging in eating certain foods. The simple decision of just not of choosing to diet and not eating what they're normally eating contributes to the mid-cingulate cortex growing. That's interesting because it's
actually amazing.
It is.
Really
it's because a large portion of the study is like, well, when you get up at 4:30 and go to the gym, or when you force yourself to read another chapter of a book, or when you choose to whatever it is that you're doing, whatever craft or whatever it is that you're doing throughout the day, or whatever good work habit you're developing. Say you just hate doing an hour of data input at a certain time in your job, but if you force yourself to do it, that part of the brain will grow
better, and that's what work ethic is.
I think it's fascinating though that those are typically actions, but a choice to not engage in an action grows the brain. Yeah. So that to me, I think reflects and shows the relationship with the spirit, because your spirit is so closely tied with our physical form. By making choices to not do something that is unhealthy, and that could be anything. It could be drinking. That could be it could be sex. It could be
gambling.
It could be cigarettes. It could be whatever.
And that's what I was going to say.
Yeah, when you're choosing not to do it, it's growing, which is amazing.
Yeah, I mean, and to circle back to the willpower bit of this, that is literally the will to live. Is that anterior mid-singular cortex or cingulate cortex?
It's closely tied to willpower.
It's closely tied to willpower and the will to live. So there's this guy, his name is Danny Boyle, and in 2010, he's a rock climber. He was climbing up a canyon wall, and a boulder had fallen, and it had fallen and trapped his arm in between that boulder and the rock wall. He had broken his arm at that point. And this guy is a fit individual, fairly young, 27 years old at the time, and he'd been rock climbing for years at this point. So you could assume that he's got some physical attributes that enable him to grow that mid-singular cortex.
Oh, for sure,
right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
So he realized that at a point in time, the fight or flight reaction.
Yeah.
He realized he's got to cut his arm off at that point. So he used a dull blade and cut his arm off so that he could survive in this instance.
That story, man. That story jacks me up every time.
It's nuts. It's really nuts.
I can't imagine doing that.
He would have never, if he didn't challenge himself and break through those barriers,
he would have died.
Do the things he didn't want to do.
Beforehand,
yes,
he would have died on that rock wall.
He cut his arm off with like a fucking pocket knife.
Yeah.
Or something, I believe, right?
Yeah.
Can you...
That's crazy. Before I forget this thought, though, think about where we're at right now. I mean, like, there's the suicide rate, especially with young men, is through the roof. And society has been made to be as easy as possible. I can sit home. I can order everything I need from Amazon. I have all my games. Everything you need is at your phone.
You can even work from home.
You can do anything. Instant gratification. I mean, we all do doom scrolling, right? Looking through the stuff. The reason why depression's at an all-time high is because people are having everything handed to them, and they don't need to go out. They don't need to walk 5 miles in the cold
when you
to
work
school
for
or work.
it.
Right? No, but it's like
they're not living with effort.
That. Yeah.
They're not living with a life of effort, like Ryan Holiday's book says.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a life worth living. You want to persist. You want to keep going when you live that way, and it's so important that people take up hobbies and pursue passions and pursue goals, because without it, you're going to be sitting on that rock wall and you're going to just hang there. You're going to die.
Yeah. And it's like, it's like whatever that, I don't know what that quote is for millionaires. It's like all millionaires have real estate, but something, whatever. I don't know what the quote is, but if you look at successful people,
but not all people who own real estate have millions.
Yeah, it's something like that. I shouldn't even have brought it up, but it has nothing to do with what I was going to say. But what I will say though,
get off the podcast.
Just kick me out of here. I'll just go back to Boston and drink with these guys.
Take off the Jets and Martin.
Let's go to rallies.
But all successful people have something in common, and most of them are very disciplined and they work out every day. they do meditation, they do yoga. Like there's some type of, there's something about their ritual that shows a high degree of work ethic. And then it kind of carries itself down to them being just happier overall because they're challenging themselves and they can get through things that the average person can't. Because I think everyone has this ability, but when you look at the people who are highly successful, it's easy to say, oh, you know, the Kardashians or this or that person, or they've been given everything. But if you actually look at their daily habits, or anybody who's physically fit, they're doing something that you're not doing every single day that takes several hours. And that's a commitment. And it's something that, and I think part of the reason why the CrossFit and the fitness industry has grown the way that it has is because there's a need for that. There's a want for that. When people finally start to get that feedback loop and start to look better and feel better and grow that part of their brain, it's addictive and it's become a huge industry. And that's a good thing.
You just triggered some of the other the information. So this is neuroplasticity. Is what this is. Mm-hmm. So what that means is whenever you, and this is true. So this is true in boxing, right? Since I started training boxing, the old coach I used to go to would talk about creating neural pathways. You're creating brand new neural pathways in the brain, learning boxing because it's such a sophisticated mental sport with footwork and, you know, knowing where your shoulder is. And when, you know, just little things, when you throw the jab, make sure your chin's down, and you got to be constantly moving. It's you're engaging in neuroplasticity because neurons are firing. You're actively trying to think about what you're doing. Now that permeates into everything, right? Even just organization and doing your taxes. I mean, or even, you know, when they say, like, if you're right-handed, use your left hand more. What you're doing is you're engaging the brain to use. You're firing off more neurons now to actively engage in the use of your left hand if you're dominantly right.
It comes down to intentional, aggressive work.
Yeah, and
it really does.
In your brain,
intentional work, man.
Your brain really interacts with the neurons.
And I'm sorry,
it's amazing.
I wanted to just say this: the team that you can build by engaging in these common workouts, for instance, CrossFit. Like, I meet people that show up. They have a similar mentality. They want to better themselves. They want to, make effort to get there, do the workout. That's the type of people you want on your team. That's the type of people that
you surround yourself with.
You want those types of people. You root for them as well. I mean, those types of people root for you. They want to see you succeed. Yeah. That piece is it goes back to the YOPS principle and just the overall consideration of others, is that you really want to surround yourself when you're pursuing ventures, and when you have a belief, you need to have a team that exhibits that tenacity to show up every freaking day and get the work done to the best of their abilities. And as a result, you'll feed off of that. You're going to feed off of that, and you're going to be better yourself. So I just wanted to throw that in there because, that's what CrossFit's done for me. And just being in this, you guys show up every day. You guys, we get on the freaking phone calls at 10 o'clock at night. Just
it's not easy. I tell everybody there's so much more that goes into that. And in a way, we're building that part of our brain, because I'm not even going to try to say it.
Yeah.
I'm murdering it. Yeah. But somebody should say it in an Irish accent though before the end of the episode. But no, but like you know what I love about it too is that it grows, because people say that your brain's a muscle. The more that you challenge your brain, if you're banging out that spreadsheet when you don't want to do it and it's late, or you're obviously reading's a great way to help your comprehension skills. But I listen to a lot of podcasts. Part of the inspiration for this,
the brain is the muscle that lifts the spirit, and I think I just made that up.
Quote.
Wow.
I don't. Yeah.
Somebody might have said it before, but you still get credit.
I hope
he definitely gets credit.
I've never heard that.
I've never heard it.
I just came up with that.
No, Kyle, if you're going to cut me off, at least cut me off with something that amazing.
Yeah.
That was worth it. That was worth it, though. That was worth it.
Nice.
Anyway, shut up. I want to talk now. So, no.
All right, calm down, ego. Calm down.
I really, a couple egos in here. So no, I really just think of that. But I want to credit you, because you were just like, you were the catalyst, those neurons firing in my brain just now. Science.
Neural pathways. Neural pathways. Neuro.
All right. The brain is the muscle that lifts the spirit. I really like that.
Yeah, that's going to be definitely a title for the post.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, we'll get that on the social.
We'll get some of that stuff out there.
I'm pretty good with words.
What's up, everybody? It's the tech guy, Dave. I just wanted to interrupt your podcast listening real quick to let you know about our cool website, blockheadnation.io. On there, you're going to find every episode of the podcast, a cool place where you can chat with us at any time, ask us any questions, make suggestions, do whatever you please. And at the bottom of the page, there's a place you can sign up for email alerts so you get updates anytime a new episode drops, anytime new merch drops, anytime we have anything cool that we want to share with you. And speaking of merch, currently we've got hats and we've got shirts all on sale, and we're updating them regularly. So come and check them out, buy some merch, support these guys for all their hard work, and show us some love. That's blockheadnation.io. And while we're here, let's give a big shout out to our sponsors, starting with the veteran-owned and operated Ghillie Puck, the most versatile camouflage device in hunting. Ghillie Puck is the completely customizable, lightweight camouflage device that'll keep you hidden from your prey. Check them out at the link in the description. And another shout out to the Tack Room Restaurant. Open at 11:30 a.m. daily, the Tack Room offers big city eats with a small town vibe. That's the Tack Room Restaurant in Lincoln, Mass. Now, back to the show.
One thing that I wanted to help kind of bring all this together before we talk about just, whatever, some common topics or some current events. The frame of reference is something that Tom Bilyeu from Impact Theory talks about all the time. Your frame of reference is everything. It's a way that you approach situations. It's the glass half full type of mantra. And I heard a really cool story on Jordan Peterson podcast the other day that I thought encapsulated this better than maybe I can explain myself. And the gentleman that he had on, I can't remember his name, unfortunately, but he was an orphan most of his life and, went back and forth to different foster homes and everything like that. And it's something, Kyle sees in his profession. And at one point, I believe when he was 9 years old, he had two mothers and they lived in a cabin that was heated by wood. So they said, hey, I will just call him Jack. They said, hey, Jack, every morning we want you to get up at 4 a.m. and fill up the wood stove. So when me and your mom and your sister wake up, it's warm in the house. Mm-hmm. And he's like, oh, this is ridiculous. Like, why do I have to do this? Like, everyone's out to get me. Like, my life's been so hard. And, really he took a reference of like, he took defense to it. He didn't know how to handle it. And when he got, one of his mothers sat him down at one point and said, hey, Jack, you're the man of the house. We're relying on you to do this. This is a big responsibility that, to have the house be warm, to have everything go so the pipes don't burst. And he actually, the kid ended up going to Yale and stuff like that. So, the kid got it and really took that. Right. He took it on as a responsibility. And like you with CrossFit, he said, waking up every day, it sucked, but it was such a good life lesson for me because I realized that just by changing, his mother helped him change that perspective, that frame of reference to say, you know what? This is a big deal. This is important. Like, I'm actually heating the house for my moms and my sister. And that was powerful for him. And it's something that even that small little microcosm carried him on throughout his life with a really tough life as an orphan and on to many other foster homes after that to be a very successful individual.
Yeah, that is a great story and a great example of how things cascade because you do it in one piece of your life. And lives are multifaceted, right? You got a lot of freaking things going on. You got a family, you got to work, you got your physical health, you got your mental health. Start someplace, usually physical. I mean, you really got to take care of your physical being and things generally will progress after you do that. But if you can do that, you'll notice how things get a little bit easier, it's not going to get easier. You're just going to work a little bit harder and the work that you do isn't going to be as tough for you. For example, I have a lot of things going on. My relationships have suffered as a result. And it was probably because I wasn't spending enough time on them. All right. But since I've been able to get that workout knocked out before 6 o'clock every morning, I can spend a little bit more time on those relationships. I can spend a little bit more time at work. And just because of the metabolic push that I go through in the morning, I'm going. And you mentioned in the third episode, Donnie, like I'm on the phones. I'm hitting the spreadsheets. I'm doing it early so that I can get it done. if you can just start someplace with yourself, get that thing done early in the day, best, my opinion. You're going to notice a vast change in the rest of your life. You can focus on those things that maybe you've been pushing off. You can focus on those things and really put in the effort needed to build those things and improve on them.
In work ethic, you start by showing up, right?
Yeah.
Then you start by actually caring about the output and the final product of showing up every day. And inside of that, you build character.
Yeah.
And you need character to mend relationships, to move forward in life, to get more successful in your career. And I think that's where the nobility of character really ties into things. But to build character, you need to show up every single day, and you need to care about what you're doing, no matter how trivial it seems. It could be the spreadsheet. It could be doing dishes like I referenced earlier, but actually saying, I'm doing this. I'm here. I care about how it's gonna end up. And and going back to things building up on you, if I'm just bullshitting everything with work, or I'm just bullshitting everything with my workout, I know it.
Yeah, and you feel it too. You feel it in your gut, right?
Last week I went to the gym, and I was kind of feeling bad for myself, and my workouts weren't that great. And you know what? No one else knows that, because I checked in, I put a little post on social media and sent it to my friends in Snapchat and our accountability groups. But I know that I didn't put on the work. And now when I go work out again, I know that I'm 1 week behind because I didn't push myself the way that I could have. And that goes back to things building up on themselves. And if you have the right frame of reference, you care about the work ethic, you can actually improve on your intentionality at the gym, focusing on certain muscle groups, focusing on rehabbing muscles as we get older, right? Golf is a huge thing for me that I really trying to get better at. And even my frame of reference.
Golf is a great one for neuroplasticity.
It's the ultimate metaphor for life.
Because here's the thing.
Absolutely.
You're growing the anterior mid-cingulate cortex when you're doing complicated tasks. And golf is a complicated.
It's so hard.
A lot of things to consider when you're swinging that club and trying to hit that little
golf's
ball.
Awesome.
Yeah,
it's become
golf
so
is
popular.
one of the hardest sports.
It's impossible, but it's the ultimate metaphor for life, because you keep hitting the ball forward, and it's about just taking those steps that we're talking about, block by block, and you're just getting closer and closer to that goal. But every hole, it resets. And even when you finish the round, or whether it's good or bad, you want to go out and play again. You know what I mean? And
right.
And it's the people who...
You've even got to go after your ball after you hit it.
It's a great metaphor, chase it around.
You might hit a great shot, and it might be the best shot maybe ever hit on the golf course, right? Mm-hmm. Could be the most beautiful technique, straight, 200 yards right off, your first tee or whatever.
Yeah.
Now, here's a great lesson in golf, I think, is you're like, wow, you could admire it, but the longer you admire it and the longer you dwell on how well that shot went, the less you're going to think about the next one. You need to go to the ball. You need to actually walk toward the ball.
You need to reset.
And you reset, and you need to find a different club.
Consistently, though.
You got it.
Getting to that ball.
It's really neat.
It's really a great metaphor for, and that's the thing. I had
God, I want to kiss you.
Yeah. No, but I want to. Never mind. So
we got a story about that.
Oh,
no,
are we?
And we're still recording. We got lost. I lost in Kyle's eyes.
I forgot that we were in the
many
car.
have.
I forgot that we were in the car like we normally. Never mind.
Can I tell? Or go ahead, Daddy.
No,
I want to tell the story about me talking to my tenants upstairs because it's funny.
That's pretty good. So and then we can kind of just go away from this stuff. But and I might have mentioned this in one of the other podcasts, but everyone who knows me knows that I've had a serious temper with sports in the past because I'm so competitive.
No, not you.
No, and it can come up, but golf was one of the huge game changers for me. I said, I love this sport and I want to continue to play. And if my frame of reference, AKA attitude, AKA work ethic towards this sport doesn't get better, then I'm not going to get better. And I'm just going to have to stop playing altogether.
Yeah.
And I'm like, who am I to just say, oh, no, I don't golf anymore. I'm not good.
I'm not good at it.
I'm not good at it. I don't like it. Just make up lies to myself. No, I like it.
It's terrible. When you feel like you're really bad at something, that's when you really should continue to work on it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because it's the most rewarding. Like you said, it gets rewarding.
It's rewarding. And I feel like I've gotten better at it. And some of it's been structural things and swing and all that other stuff. But most of it's been my swing hasn't changed much, to be honest with you. It's my mentality that's changed. Yeah.
You're sure, you're talking about golf, but you're using a great philosophical mind to really pick apart the metaphorical and the symbolic pieces of it.
It's helped me. It's really helped me in life. And I challenge anybody to golf. Like going to the gym and, really leaning into the sport of golf have been huge things that have turn me out of that attitude that I referenced to earlier with the really bad attitude, the getting really angry when I was drinking and stuff. And now I can drink more in moderation and then not have an episode because I'm slowly trying to
not have an episode.
No, but seriously, because I'm slowly.
You're psychotic, dude.
It's true, though. I think we all are in our own terms, right? Yeah. But because I'm slowly checking off those boxes of things that I should have addressed a long time ago.
Yeah, So, well, Rudy,
you're living more intentionally too.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm looking at the time. Rudy mentioned nobility of character, which is a great theme of this episode. That
was your idea, by the way.
It was Kyle's idea.
Yeah, well,
I appreciate it. Well, I want to wrap up the neuroplasticity and work ethic, and I want to tie in nobility of character.
Please,
because what we're really talking about here is everybody in their life is important, right? Nobody's life is more important than the next. You have opportunities, and you're going to have things in your life that everybody has things in their life they want to change. But here's the thing. It does matter if what you're pursuing is truly benevolent or truly selfless. Like you said, helping your mom with her health insurance. And choosing to do that and drive 2 hours to go help her with groceries. And you're driving literally almost 3 hours to go and help your mother on the other end of the state. Those are truly, sure, it's easy to throw the word, well, that's very moral. You can throw that word out there, but it's somebody's life at a very micro level, choosing to go do something that's kind of difficult, but choosing to do something that's selfless. And I don't think the currency of that isn't going to always be tangible, and maybe never. And maybe nobody will ever see it, but that doesn't matter. What matters is that there's a God watching. So I have a Bible quote that I chose for nobility of character. And this is one that I found, and it's Philippians 4:8. Now, by no means am I some incredible Christian person who's never made a mistake in his life. I've made plenty. The need for Jesus is because he died for our sins, and that we can go to heaven when his righteousness is placed on us. It's the only faith. It's not even a religion. Actually, if you really study the Bible objectively, it's not hard to understand. Jesus was actually very much against the Jewish religion at the time. The Jewish Pharisee were so headstrong in their own ways of saying we're so clean and perfect. They didn't believe he was the Messiah, but he would call them hypocrites and call them vipers and sons of the devil, because they were so focused on keeping the law that was from the Old Testament. The Old Testament just foreshadows Jesus truly, because Jesus was essentially the Old Testament law embodied, because he was perfect in all of his ways. He didn't sin. He was saying you need a relationship with God. He rose from the dead, and he breathed at Pentecost on his disciples. The Holy Spirit came down finally into the earth, and that's what we have today. When you believe in Jesus, you receive the Holy Spirit, and you understand that you need his righteousness. So because ours is filthy, and this is actually Paul, who I believe in Romans has the Bible verse. Paul states that our good works are like filthy rags to God. We can do so many good things, but God in heaven is going to say those are still filthy rags, because I am so holy and perfect that you need the perfection of my son placed upon you in order for me to accept you into heaven. That was the point of Jesus dying. So this quote, this verse is, finally, brethren, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are of good report, if there be any virtue and if there be any praise, think on these things. So this Bible verse is very much about justified, truly benevolent, justified approaches where you're not thinking so much about yourself, but how is my daily habits going to better, yourself, but also people around you, and doing selfless things for others, or realizing that all the money and this and that and the pleasure of the world they're going to fade, they're going to go away. But if you truly make an impact and develop the greater parts of yourself that are truly moral, and have self-control, and have focus, and have a mind every day where you're renewing your mind and saying, well, how can I be just a little better in a sense that God would approve of this? Essentially, if you're going to, and you might not believe in God watching this, but if there is a figure in heaven that's going to have established a morality, I don't believe that we established it. I believe that we're a part of it, and that's why we have access to it.
Absolutely.
I had a or I just had a note on the board that says, regret hits you in the gut. And,
Yeah.
to along those lines though, Kyle, right? You need to do something benevolent. You need to do something worldly and in an effort to really help. I don't even know what to say it, but there's how to say it, but
not worldly, but brotherly.
Brotherly, yes.
Right. Taking care of your brothers and your sisters, and
right. You need to do something for others.
that's just everyday people.
There's a level of consciousness, right? Because like anybody who's anybody, regardless of what you believe in, we know that consciousness is real, but it still hasn't been defined through science. And that consciousness of knowing that you haven't done benevolent things and you're not living in a path you can feel it in your soul. And those are the things that drag you down. And when you continue to put those things off, it drags you further and further away from what your real goals are. And there's something to be said about that on a quantum level, on a spiritual level.
Quantum.
That goes so much deeper.
Well, there's evidence of it, right?
And it can't be explained. And that's why, like I said, I have faith myself as well. And me and Kyle speak about this stuff all the time. And it's something that it's within you. In doing these things and not putting off the things that you need to do, and having work ethic and everything that you do can just bring you along, to bring you to hopefully a better place in your life. And we all have struggles and life's peaks and valleys, but these are what we're hoping are some of the building blocks to accomplish the things you've always wanted to do, like us trying to do.
And almost what you're meant to do.
Exactly. Because you kind of know it intrinsically. Like you like everyone has this, I know that I do at least, has this angst that like I'm supposed to do more than I have already. Sure. And I feel that every single day. Sure. And sometimes I choose to ignore it, and it builds up and it makes me feel worse about myself. But the days that I just get up and I say, you know what, I'm going to do everything possible today to the best of my ability to get closer to this angst or this further goal that I know I need to accomplish. When I call it gnawing away at the bone.
Yep.
Shout out to James Goodman. He said that once. I've been using it ever since. He has some great quotes. Great wedding, by the way. Yeah. But me and Kyle were there. Had a good time.
It was great. It was beautiful.
But yeah, I mean,
I was a little questionable at the end of it, but
yeah,
as we're talking about, not drinking too
much. No,
but
we were all responsible. We were
rides. Very responsible.
We had rides and Ubers.
Safe rides home. Yeah, we had safe ride home, and that was a fantastic wedding.
It was a great wedding.
I guess I don't drink a lot, but when I do go, I guess I pick my formal events where I'm like, okay.
Yeah. To follow up the biblical verse, I want to just hit on BS pussy.
That's so
Rudy has to add an acronym
no disrespect.
to everything.
No disrespect.
He has to add an acronym to everything. So
no. Guys, I'm slow. A little bit
analytical
slower,
brain,
and I don't recall things as easy. But I made a joke to these guys.
What's this acronym, Rudy?
And they hate it, but it's called BS pussy. And if you don't want to get up in the morning, you say BS pussy. And you think,
it's kind of clever.
And you think about it, and you think about it.
It's bullshit.
Yeah, well, right.
Yeah.
So you could interpret it a couple different ways, but what it really means is believe, show up, pursue unconditional consistency to improve, and that is what BS pussy is. So there's not an S in there. There's a C towards the end. So, not to be confused.
Okay.
So
more appropriate.
I don't think Kyle knew that.
So it's BSPUCI.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
CE.
You can hate it or love it. And if you don't like Yops, fuck
Rudy
you.
loves his...
All right.
Oh, wow. I think everyone liked the Yops. We can make shirts and stuff. Now, speaking of that, it's a funny acronym. We'll bring acronyms as much as Rudy needs them. But I do want to say, though, as we get closer towards the end here, you see the new hat there? Rudy, show the camera the hat. That's what the rope hat looks amazing. Our website is now live. Dave has done some amazing work to it. I'll put some links in the description
Dave
the
Lewis,
website.
our production guy, sitting back there handling all the tech.
He's amazing. And the website looks amazing. We have more merch available. Rudy's bought more merch than we know what to do with. One of our most recent posts actually has a link to the merch, but I don't know if it's hooked up to the website. I'll have to talk to Dave about that, but it is live. You can actually buy stuff on the website. The links are in the description of our actual Instagram and our TikTok, and our Facebook, actually, the link right to the website. But yeah, we'll post that with more merch, more content, and we're really looking forward to having that launch. So thank you so much, Dave, for that. And the merch is now live and we're able to buy it.
Wow.
Or you're able to buy it.
Yeah.
But we're the only ones buying it.
No, just guys.
Under different usernames, under different names. Tom Smith. 3 caps and 1 hoodie.
That's just Rudy buying everything.
Hey guys, can I get this?
No, but buy it for more through our website.
I tell my family I don't want anything unless it's got a freaking Blockhead logo on it.
Yeah.
I like it. It's something we've created.
Yeah.
You know, it's just, it means something. It means something to me.
Maybe it'll take off.
I hope the messages that we're conveying mean something to you all and they resonate a little bit. This little guy, this little stick figure.
I sent somebody a Blockhead hat that's she's very far away. You probably know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I hope she liked it.
I hope she rocks it and
It's
posts
awesome.
that. And if she doesn't, then we got issues.
Whether the gear has been given to you or you decide to buy it, please send us a picture. We'd love to give you a shout out on the story. We love showing pictures of people having. We just posted one of Paulie and the kids. It was really cute. And it's awesome seeing people with the gear on them.
That was really cute. Yeah, I saw that.
So how do you guys feel about this Jake Paul fight with Mike Tyson?
Hate it.
What are your thoughts? What's the verdict? Before we're getting into the...
I had no idea that Tyson fought 3 years ago, but I'm excited to see him.
Yeah, he fought one of the other best boxers that's ever lived.
Roy Jones Jr.
Yeah. I didn't watch it. But regardless, he's still like, I just view him as one of the baddest people around ever.
Yeah.
And you see his training videos. That motherfucker's fast.
Dude, like
as
10
hell.
seconds.
Yeah.
I'll give my opinion.
You know, and I know how much endurance helps.
There is speculation that it's not going to be. Listen,
there's a lot of rules.
That Jake Paul's fights are always fixed, or that they throw him, or like, you know, in no universe, I don't think does Mike Tyson lose to Jake Paul. So even him boxing Nate Diaz, you know, I feel like, you know, Nate Diaz was like, listen, you're not going to pay me any amount of money to lay down on the canvas. I'm not going to get knocked out for you, but I will go the distance with you, and you can take the decision. Is like my take on it.
Yeah.
So maybe him and Tyson will have a similar deal, because like, you can't tarnish these huge names in combat sports.
Well, I mean, but everyone has a price. I don't want to say that Tyson does. He does really well for himself, but Roy Jones Jr. fight, it was sloppy. It was not worth the money. I might have paid for it, if he did pay for it, it wasn't worth the money. It kind of seemed like it was a little bit one-sided, but like they still made it a draw. And it was a sloppy fight, and this was 3 years ago.
Roy Jones Jr. was always in a different weight class too. I mean, Tyson was a heavyweight, and he was a short heavyweight. But
he did not. All I gotta say is that anybody who watched that fight, Tyson did not look that good. It was 3 years ago. They had training videos back then. They looked great in his burst. He's obviously a very impressive guy. Of course, there's always a fighter's chance, but I just don't. If Jake Paul actually danced around and got him tired, I really don't think that he would win. But I think it's going to end up being a decision and probably a tie or something to go towards
Jake Paul's
a
credit, he's trained his ass off. He has the money. He has the money to train.
That's for sure.
He's got the work. He's got the work. He's built his brand.
He made money, and he chose to spend every day training in boxing. Now, when you have the luxury of committing every day to train in boxing, you don't have to work full time. You have to do it. You still have to do it. But you're going to get better. He's gotten better at boxing. He's a decent boxer. Like he's okay at boxing. Like people say he's terrible, but
he's not bad.
He's better than
going toe to toe. I mean, went toe to toe with Fury and he lost, but I mean that guy's like an actual boxer from a boxing family.
I don't think he's great yet, but he has the potential to be really, really good.
I just think that I don't think it's going to be as exciting as people think. But now it's going to be a tag team, and Logan Paul's going to be involved, and now they're wearing headgear. I think there's all these things going on about it. Like that's weird. I don't know why
these
would
are
need
in the
to.
rules. I don't know if they're actually going to wear the headgear, but I think that's some pussy shit. It's some BS pussy weird shit, you know.
Whoa! I mean, amateurs wear headgear. I mean,
well, if
there's some amateur boxers.
Tyson's not going to wear headgear. That's the rule. Jake Paul has the rule, the ability to wear headgear, but Tyson doesn't.
I mean, to be honest, headgear doesn't. All it protects against is superficial cuts on the face. It doesn't make you any less susceptible to concussions.
Your brain's still getting jocked.
Yeah,
back
it doesn't. Crazy. It doesn't. It's literally to prevent like black eyes.
Well,
or,
if one's going to wear it, the other's got to wear it. It has to have the ability to wear it.
All I'm going to say is that, listen, if I had to put my money where my mouth is, it's going to be a draw, and I would put at least $200 cash on that. That's all I'm going to say, because I think it's going to be drawn out that way, and if not, Tyson will take the loss, take the paycheck, but it'll go to a decision because he's not going to.
Everybody wants a buck, and to each their own.
Yeah,
but I don't think a fight where he does lose is going to actually taint his reputation. So I would take the loss too if I was him. I'd take the
$150 million or something. Yeah. I mean, everyone has to watch it. I mean, I'm going to watch it, and we're talking shit about it. So
I don't know. You know what? I don't know. I remember watching at when I was living in when I was renting your house,
Yeah.
I had a bunch of people over for the McGregor Mayweather fight. You might have been there.
Maybe.
That was awesome. I thought McGregor Mayweather was so much fun to watch. McGregor is literally a world class striker, though. So I understand him. I respect him making the jump into boxing. Now he's fighting the best boxer on the planet in Floyd Mayweather. Somewhat disrespectful to the sport of boxing. Still, however, it was cool to see.
He still gave it a good.
McGregor,
the first couple rounds.
I mean, I think people don't. I think they take away the fact that MMA, mixed martial arts, has so much boxing in it. It's not pure boxing, obviously, but that was a lot of fun to watch. And I don't think I'm going to watch Tyson and Jake Paul unless you convince me to. And I'm like, over.
It's
on Netflix.
You can stream it.
It'd be fun to have
free.
somebody
It's free. Isn't it?
I think it's free on
I
Netflix.
got the money from Netflix. That makes a lot of sense. But
probably just another distraction to distract the world from food factories getting blown up everywhere and Texas on fire and
we'll get more into the current events. We really got to dive into some of that.
I just want to say, Rudy was correcting me about Charles Schwab. It is Klaus Schwab.
Klaus. Yeah.
Klaus. Yeah, I was saying
I
it
think
right.
Isn't the English pronunciation of it Charles?
I think it's Charles, but
So
you
it's
would
like
correct me multiple times.
Correction section,
So it was going to go in the correction session, but now it needs to come out of the correction session because I was actually correct.
No, correction section for me.
So fuck you.
Yeah, me.
Yeah, whatever.
Right, whatever.
Yeah, so
I was right.
I was calling him Carl.
Sorry.
So I was completely wrong. So I had no idea.
Todd Schwab.
I know some stuff
I
about
thought it
him,
was
but-
Charles.
Yeah.
There is actual bank called Charles Schwab, right?
Fuck him
Yeah,
still though,
there is.
because he's wanting to own everything on the earth. And
Yeah, but I'm going to post I'm going to make it a little bit better than what's on TikTok. But the Tucker Carlson segment, I'm going to put a funny post about that because, he lights him up and it's hilarious.
all right, we're gonna wrap this up. We're over an hour.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of fun
Kyle's
with you
gotta
guys.
pee.
I gotta go to the bathroom.
I do have to
gotta
pee as well. That's what happens.
Fernando
I
and
gotta pee
Alex are gonna
too.
be here soon. So we gotta
We're actually going to go to rallies this time. We lied last time.
Oleg, yeah.
No, but Kyle,
I forgot we invited Oleg.
we're going to go to rallies. What are we going to do over there?
We're gonna go to the Hootenanny. We're gonna
Go to Nanny over at rallies.
I'm gonna walk into rallies. I'm gonna shoot a glare at the bartender. Make sure he gets me a shot of whiskey straight on a rocks glass. Clean. I'll tell him I want it clean, just like I like it on the chin.
A nice curdled car bomb.
A nice Irish car bomb. But get me a pint of Guinness. Get me some of that corned beef and cabbage. I tell you also, Ryan, you look at me one more time with that silly ass face, I'll slap you so goddamn good. I smacked you so good.
Oh my
I
gosh.
smacked you so good you'll have two noses. You won't know which one to breathe out of. Smile at me.
Those pants look nice.
Thank
All
you.
you gotta do is give Kyle a compliment and just
Right,
snap
I
right
love
out of
that.
character.
I love
Breaks it.
That's all you gotta do is give him a compliment. He'll blush and
Snap right
snap
out.
right
This
out
has
of
been
character.
Blockhead Nation Podcast, episode number 4. Thank you for coming, guys. Thank you, Rudy. Thank you, Mr. Donovan.
thanks,
Thank
Hey
you.
guys, yeah.
Thanks,
So episode 4, work ethic and nobility of character. This St. Patrick's Day edition. Thank you guys so much. All right, guys. Hey, have a good day. Don't drink too much.
Be intentional.
Block by block, baby.
Block by block.
Goodbye.
Blockhead, yes I